Hi everybody. This is going to be a video of a little more serious note in response to a few things I've been asked from some women about abuse from a man. So I'm going to tell you right now, when it comes to abusive relationships, there is no justification in any way, shape, or form. I want you to realize that no matter what this man may tell you, this guy, whatever your age that you're with a man, whether you're dating, married, living together, if a man is putting you down, if he's hitting you, if he's hurting you emotionally, physically, mentally, or all three, listen to me. There is absolutely nothing in this world that is worth being with a man like that. And I want you ladies out there, you girls, you women, I want you to stop and realize that no matter what you say to yourself to try to convince yourself that maybe things will get better, maybe you can fix it, maybe things will just work out in the end. No, absolutely not. And you listen to me, no. If a man shows you aggressiveness, if he shows you any kind of a temper that you see is getting out of control, walk out of the damn situation. Do not let him make you feel that it was just a one-time thing, that, oh, he just was upset that day, he had a tough day at work, or any other excuse that he gives you. There is no excuse. And I say this because through experience, I know. Do not, listen to me, do not let a man mistreat you in any way. You are deserving of somebody who loves you, who is kind to you, who lifts you up, who makes you feel good, who makes you feel like life is worth living, who brings out the best in you. Do not be with somebody who makes you feel like you just want to run away and die, because men can do that. Believe me, I know. You have got to get the strength and you have got to get the courage to realize that if when you're with a man like this, especially if you have children, believe me, you don't want to make that mistake of staying with somebody who will hurt you. We've all seen enough of it on the news of women who have been seriously injured or murdered by the guy in their life. And I think a lot about a lot of those women who, if at the first sign of this man showing that kind of behavior, if they would have left, if they'd still be here living a better life, living life, period. There is no excuse, ladies. There is absolutely no excuse, especially you young ones, you teenagers who are dating these guys and they seem possessive. And don't confuse a man who's, jealous, who shows jealousy and he's like, oh, nobody's going to talk to my girl and stay away from my girl. That is not what you want. You do not want a guy like that. That is the first sign of a guy who is not going to be the best thing in the world for you. Don't put yourself in the situation to be in that surrounding. Get yourself out of it. If you're with somebody and you know he's especially dangerous, then yeah, I think it's best to make a plan. Make sure you go to the police if you have to. Tell your family members, your friends, whoever. Have some support. Don't be alone when you tell this guy, by the way, I'm done with you, I'm out of here. He might just turn around and take care of you, and you know what I mean. If you're in that situation where it's that bad, where you think if you were to tell him it's over, he could actually hurt you or your children if you have children, you've got to make a plan to get out of there. If you have to go to a shelter, go to a shelter. Find someplace safe to go. But do not continue to put up with this behavior. You women and girls need to understand there is no love in a man who hurts you physically or who demeans you, puts you down, makes you feel bad about yourself, make you feel like you're not good enough, pretty enough, thin enough, whatever enough. That is not the kind of man you want in your life in any way, shape, or form. You get rid of that kind of garbage. You just toss it out, forget it, and move on and try to find somebody who's worthy of you, especially if you grew up with that. If you grew up in a family atmosphere where you had a father who wasn't the greatest guy on this earth, you might have more of a tendency, believe me, to end up with guys who maybe don't treat you very well, and you, without realizing it, you subconsciously accept it because that's what you're used to. But you know in your heart when a man is treating you badly. When you're going through your day, you're lying in bed at night and you're thinking, wow, he wasn't very nice to me, gosh, he's really rude to me, he puts me down, he makes me feel bad. You know in your heart and soul when a guy is not treating you well. You know it. Don't kid yourself. It's something that you automatically feel. It's a red flag that comes up whether you're already living with somebody or you're dating them, that red flag comes up. You get that funny feeling in your stomach like, wow, I don't know if I really like that. You know the difference between a guy who's treating you badly and really putting you down or hurting you, then maybe it's a guy who's, he's just, he throws his socks on the floor and it's like, oh, it drives you crazy. I'm talking the guy who actually does things that scare you, hurt you physically or mentally or emotionally. A guy who makes you feel like you can't be around your friends. A guy who's checking your cell phone constantly, checking everything. He's like this guard over your life. That is not healthy. That is not normal. You don't want that kind of a person. That is a person who is so insecure within himself that he's transferring that insecurity to you. On how he is, he's putting it on you. You don't want that. If you can't be with somebody who completely trusts you and you completely trust, then you're with the wrong person. Yeah, of course you have to be aware of what's going on in each other's lives. I mean, let's face it, people cheat, people do things. But you know what? If somebody's going to cheat on you, you're going to eventually find out and you'll know and it's going to be over. But you cannot spend your life with somebody who you don't trust or who doesn't trust you, and there's this constant back and forth. Well, gosh, I wonder why he talked to that girl, or why did she talk to this guy? If you got that going on, forget it. There's nothing there. It's a sick little game that you've gotten locked into, a cycle that you need to break. And I'm telling you, when I see these things on the news about some girl who got, murdered, or some wife got murdered by her husband, and then you talk to the family or neighbors later, they say, oh yeah, I heard the fights, or yeah, she always would tell me one of these days he's going to do me in. You know what's going on. You know what's going on in your life with a man. Do not, listen to me, do not find any excuses for it, because there aren't any. I'm going to repeat it. Don't. Get out. Make a plan if you have to get a plan if he's that bad. And even if you think he's not that bad, who knows? You never know with some of these guys. They seem to be like they're whatever, and then you tell them and they flip like that. I suggest that any one of you girls or women out there who are with a man that you know in your heart is not treating you good, I suggest you do. You find a safe place to go to tell him of what's happening, and you stay there for a while. Don't just go for the day. You tell him and then go home. A lot of these men just flip out of the blue. I mean, it seems like they're getting crazier and crazier to where it's all, you said something I didn't like, I'm going to stab you, I'm going to kill you. Find a place to go, stay there after you tell them for a while, and try not to be, try to let everybody know what's going on, your family, your friends, so people are aware of what's happening in your life. Maybe set up certain things to where you have to call somebody by a certain time so they know you're okay, or you have a code word that if they call you and say this guy is there and you don't know what to do because you're so scared, have a code word that's not a word you use every day, because then it'll get confused. Pick a code word, and that way if somebody calls you and he happens to be there or outside and you're not sure what to do, and say your sister calls up, or an aunt or somebody, and you guys have this code word, and they say, so how's it going? And you go, oh, things are really, I don't know, think of some kind of cool word that you don't use in everyday language so that they know. And like mine is ducky, okay? I have told people in my life, if you call me and I say, oh, everything's just ducky, they know something's wrong. Call 911, because you never know with these men. You never know what they're going to do. And it breaks my heart to think that some of you, especially you younger girls who have so much life to live, and all girls, all women, all ages, but you've got so much life to live, and if you've got a guy like this, he's going to bring you down. He's going to make you feel like nobody else is going to love you. Believe me, I know. He's going to make you feel like no one else will want you, that you're not pretty enough, you're not thin enough, you're not whatever, and smart enough, you're not whatever. And then you start believing it. The more they say it to you, the more you believe it. And that's the last thing you want, because then it's even harder to get out of that cycle. So listen to your gut feeling. It's usually 100% right when you're with a man and you get this feeling inside that says something's not right. And even not necessarily with what he says to you or his actions, there's just something, you get this gut feeling about a guy. It's usually pretty right. So learn to follow it. Learn to pay attention to it. Don't just blow it off. And if you're with a guy who, let's say one day, he came at you in a very aggressive way, like, oh, he actually scared you. Don't give that person a second chance. I'm telling you, don't give them a second chance. Those are the guys that have become pretty good cons. You know, they'll con you like, oh, honey, I'm so sorry. I just had such a rough day. No. There's a difference between someone who has a rough day and they come home and, oh, God, I hate my boss. He's such a jerk. And the guy who starts putting it off on you and showing his aggressiveness and meanness. There's a big difference there, and you need to separate those two. So listen to me, and don't ruin your life. Don't ruin your existence on this planet. Don't put your kids through the unnecessary, believe me. Don't make them feel that this is part of a normal existence. It is not. Try to look at yourself in the mirror, and if you have to, when you're alone and you're looking in that mirror, talk to yourself and tell yourself, wow, do I really want to be with this guy? Is he really treating me right? I know he's not treating me right. Why am I staying with him? Don't use the excuse of family, oh gosh, what they're going to think of me, or friends, or oh, my marriage fell apart, my relationship. Who gives a damn about any of that? The goal here is to take care of you, and if you have children, your children. Get out of it. Get out of it, because believe me, it affects you for the rest of your life if you stay in it. It affects you in ways that you can't even imagine until the time comes. And if you waste years and years on this relationship, you have a very difficult time again even trusting any kind of male figure because of what they do to you subconsciously in your mind. It's there all the time. So listen to me. Get out of it, okay? Find a way out of it. If you're with a really dangerous guy, find a safe way out of it. If you have to wait till he's at work, whatever, do so. If he leaves, plan. Get what you need together without him knowing it for you or your children. And then when he's gone, go. Call somebody to come pick you up, or just go. But don't stay in this situation. It could mean your life. It could mean your health if he does something to you. Say, you see these guys who stab a woman, or they beat her so severely she's in a coma, whatever. Don't wait for that. Get out of it. Get yourselves out of it. Find a way out. Talk to whoever you trust. Don't talk to his friends if they're your friends, because you never know which one of those friends of his will go around and tell him. You talk to somebody in your circle, in your life, your mother, father, brother, whoever, close friend. You talk to somebody that you can trust 100% and get out of the situation, because there is nothing worth it. Love yourself. Take care of yourself. Realize that you are worth being treated well by a man, okay? No man is worth this, guys. Listen to me over and over. There is not one single thing he does for you, whether he brings you flowers and candies and gifts and what have you. That's just their con method. They know how to do this. They know how to say, oh, honey, I'm so sorry, I love you. They'll cry, and they'll act like, oh, gosh, my world will end if you leave me, and blah, blah. Get all that crap and throw it away, because it means nothing. If this man will hit you once, he will hit you again. If he puts you down to the point where you feel like you're nothing, he will continue to put you down. Believe me, it's not worth it. So I'm telling you, love yourselves, find a way out of this, get out of this, and start a new life. I know it's hard, I know it's scary as hell, believe me, I know it's very scary. And you feel like maybe you can't do it because you've got these kids. Yes, you can. If you have to go to a shelter, do what you have to get out of this relationship. If you're not with a man where you can just agree to disagree, okay, I don't like this, okay, you talk about it and then you move on, then you're with the wrong guy. If you've got a guy who you mention something you don't like, or you just don't do something right in his eyes, and he comes at you with mean, aggressive, violent behavior or words, you're with the wrong guy. Get the hell out of the relationship. Don't waste another minute thinking it's going to be okay or you're going to fix it. That's the worst thing you can do for yourself, for your life, and for your kids, believe me. Don't do it. Get out, find a safe place, and you'll feel so much better once you realize you've got the strength to get out of something so terrible. You're going to feel so much better. You're going to love yourself a lot better. You're going to feel better about yourself. And do not beat yourself up. If it took you 30 years to get out of that relationship, so what? If you did it, still be very proud of yourself for making the move to get out of it. And don't let anybody make you feel bad in any way. Like saying, oh, well, you should have left that 20 years ago. To hell with those people. If you finally make the move, be proud of yourself and get on with your life and have a good life. I wish you nothing but happiness, and I wish you nothing but the best relationships. So you guys take care, get out, no more excuses. You know who you are. Love you, take care, and have a great day. Bye-bye.